talk more about that as we go through. Everyone's eager to start the games today because we have potentially 9+ with tiebreakers. And the Jinx ban coming out against Gank Zero, kind of expected. Yeah, you don't want someone to play their champion that they've played over like 180 games with on solo queue, and that takes up like 70% of their play rate in solo queue. And then aside from that, Kalista, Rumble, Hecker, and Maokai going by pretty quick, but all pretty standard bans. I am also banning out Lego pretty heavily. He is kind of potentially the weak link here, but we'll see how that plays out. Top lanes, of course, a very interesting dynamic among different teams. Some have hard carry top laners, some have super quiet top laners. And then LeBlanc, the last ban against Frozen. But Frozen has a pretty diverse and strong champion pool, so I don't think that's going to bother you too much. I think it's simply because LeBlanc is an explosive carry in the mid lane. Bard being highlighted. Bard had his moment at MSI. Yeah, I mean, 5.8. I guess you can say Bard got a buff. We are playing on 5.8, by the way, if you guys didn't see that notice online. So not really expecting the Bard there. Yeah, Gnar seems a lot more likely for a first pick. Yeah, and Apple back in the top lane. Excited to watch Apple. Apple also has been someone a lot of people had high hopes for, actually, in the top lane since he debuted, but never really had his shining moment either. We'll see how it goes through for Longzhu IM, though. The Gragas jungle, and then the Thresh against Ignar, because Ignar really known for his Thresh, and then he plays a lot of Blitzcrank in solo queue too. So people are questioning how deep is his champion pool. We've seen supports in the past come in, and they'll have some games where they really shine, but then as soon as you challenge their champion pool, they need like a full season or more to recoup from that. So Winner's trying to target that out. Frozen going for the Azir. Coming out pretty strong here for IM. Rek'Sai. No, Gragas and Rek'Sai. Top picks for jungle right now. Can't really say too much against that. Gank Zero, yeah, Sivir is the champion that he hard carried with in one of the games for the finals when they went 3-0 against Zenix when Jinx was finally taken away from them. And he basically showed that he can play with a similar style with Sivir also, while Sivir is not often known as a hyper carry for AD carries. But we've seen other games. I mean, Space had his moment on Sivir when he had that hyper play at the Baron Pit in the earlier phase of the spring season. And of course, it really depends on the rest of your team when you play something like Sivir, because your ultimate is a utility ultimate. And then the Cassiopeia. Azir Cassiopeia has become kind of the new thing for mid lane matchups. Whoa, okay, yeah, I didn't think we were going to see the Vayne. Lucian, a lot more reasonable. And then Alistar. So IM's team comp, something that we've been seeing since kind of the end of spring season into MSI. Very actually just stable team comp all throughout, right? Every one of these champions is pretty versatile. I guess the least versatile is Alistar, because without his ult, he can be pretty squishy. But aside from that, no super weak spots for IM. And then there's Winners. Looking at Sion, I mean, with Rumble, Maokai, and Hecarim all banned out, Sion for a lot of players is the next go-to for top lane. Of course, in 5.8, Sion did get that slight nerf on his W, but he's, he can still be a big meat shield. If you can hit your ult, it's still a good initiate. Oh, we're Renekton. All right, well, Winners also played Renekton in the first round of tournament. You know what's really funny about solo casting is that you actually, the biggest difference in how much you talk is before the game. Because in the game, if you're, well, I guess if you're an analyst / like color caster, if you have to solo cast, the play-by-play part can be the biggest difference. But for people who do a lot of play-by-play, the biggest difference is before the game, because you have no one to have conversations with. Maybe I should create an imaginary friend before the next game. Then we can have a very deep conversation about life before going to set number 2. Oh, there's Frozen. I think those are new glasses. And then there's Moon. So let's talk about Winners a little bit, since we don't know too much about them. Moon used to play for Prime Optimus during NLB Spring in 2014, so that's last year. And then he played on Prime Sentinel in the summer season of Champions. And then we have, of course, in the bottom lane, it's going to be Gank Zero. All eyes on him. his full name on the live server does refer to the bottom kingdom. And then we have Boku in the support role. Very different name from his live server name, which is actually just the name of a singer in Korea. So let's look at how Legos Renekton does against Gnar. I mean, that will determine a lot just because Gnar obviously has a lot of impact, just base abilities and base stat-wise. In team fights a lot more. And then also, these days what we've noticed a lot is that the Korean casters are talking about how I might get sent to the emergency room if we go all the way through for tiebreakers, because I do have to cast all of these. I think the biggest worry is, if I get sent to the hospital, to the emergency room today, who's going to cast tomorrow's games? I mean, albeit most people are expecting a lot more action from today than tomorrow, but I don't think you can quite write them off just yet. So what we've seen from MSI, or at least my personal opinion from MSI, is that the jungle, once again, showing up as probably the most impactful. And jungle always has been, just because obviously you roam the most. But depending on the meta and depending on the champion pool that fits through the meta, we've seen, you know, phases where jungling was a lot more about just farming or whatnot. Oh, a nice hook for Boku. And until now, the trades were really going in IM's favor, but Gang Zero tried to turn things around, and I think oh, okay, he flashed for it, and Gang Zero flashes out. Roar gets ignited. Boku trying to go for the last hit. He just needs one more, but oh, wow, the exhaust comes through. He still flashes, but with the pot, and he gets it with the hook. Boku gets the first blood. Gang Zero picking up the assist on that, and winners turning things around when things actually looks pretty grim. Oh, man. That doesn't feel too good for Roar. I thought he was going to get super saved from that exhaust too. We have Tucson here looking for a counter gank, and there's no flash, there's no summoners. Can he get to the lantern? Gank Zero! Oh, he jumps on the lantern, but he's still going to get that one last hit in from Ignar, and Ignar evens things out. The assist going to Tucson though instead of Roar. So Roar still a little bit behind, you could say, but just given that what items they want to prioritize, and now they want to prioritize the lane, Ganks are going for double Dorns. Whereas Roar going for that longsword. We'll see how that pays off in lane. Well, this is exciting. I'm glad we have an exciting early game. But hopefully, it's not like this for every game, because then I won't be able to cast tomorrow's games. Well, good to see that Ignar and Tucson seem pretty comfortable with the choices they've made with the team in terms of how the lineup works out. And, you know, Tucson having just a lot of high hopes on him from the fans. Again, people were questioning, right? If you're a support, why does your ID talk about how you love to fight and you love to brawl? And, you know, he used to talk about, oh, like, I'm going to play Lee Sin support, and that's just the style I play, but it never really fit the support. So I'm actually pretty excited to see him in jungle. Hopefully this is where he can shine a lot more too. Because when you're on support, it's a lot bigger of a gamble. I mean, we've had aggressive supports in the past, but Potato showed up bottom lane, but he's not really going to get much out of that. And Roar has been able to do a lot better in lane once he got back, once both of them took one death to the face. And Roar is another player that, you know, there's some attention on him, but not too much proven. Oh, Roar not communicating too well with Ignar, but, you know, there were too many minions, so diving in wouldn't have been the best idea. So Ignar just doing his best zoning and harass. But Roar being talked about as kind of a genius-style player rather than completely effort-based. For instance, we saw at MSI, if you watched it, there was that feature on Westdoor, and his coaches talked about how Westdoor is definitely all about, you know, practice. He built himself up from practice. He built his own foundation. People in Korea wondering if Roar is kind of that different player where he can kind of pick up anything he wants, and he starts with a higher base talent. But at the same time, when you come to the professional level, practice is still what makes perfect. So Roar's going to have to prove himself a little bit more here. Tucson, I mean, he's been doing fine. Nothing crazy from the jungle other than that early gank, but it wasn't too crazy given how the lane worked out at level 1. Well, Moon doing fine, farming, and against Azir. We might actually just see the mid lane stay quiet. I mean, Azir, Cassiopeia, either one person really commits to being aggressive and we see things like easy and diving. Uh-oh, Ignar goes in, but Potato's here. Gangster is so low, though, he's not going to really be able to turn around and attack because Tucson comes in from behind, gets the kill with the smite. Ignar going to be sacrificed, but can Roar continue to dish out the damage on Potato. Nice play on Tucson. I already love Potato, though. Man, I am jealous of Doa because he gets to talk about potatoes all the time. And Doa's from the Midwest, so how nice of Potato. Well, I guess if they don't make it, Doa won't really be able to talk about it. So for Doa's sake, I think Doa's probably rooting for winners right now. And whoa, Lego going in pretty hard. I mean, this is why Renekton was so strong for a while too, because early on, even despite some balance changes that he went through, early on, Renekton's still really strong. And you'll still see him here and there in solo queue because of that. But Gnar will still do fine as the late game comes. You would hope. And especially for someone like Apple, I think he'll be okay. Going for that Sunfire also. So Tucson having quite a good impact on the game so far as jungle Rek'Sai. You know, he seems quiet until he shows up at the right time. Seems to have really good communication with the rest of his team, especially bottom lane. Winner's taking this moment to go for a relatively early dragon. Nothing too crazy, but no vision from IM. They just got there. Tucson tried to steal with his Q, but Winner's already got it all done and exiting safely. So Winner's basically trying to catch up a little bit with that dragon, and that will help them. It'll basically stall the Longzhu snowball a little bit. I'm trying to figure out if, I mean, I guess now we just don't call them IM anymore. We just call them Longzhu. Because we don't call Samsung Galaxy, we just call them Samsung. Just like how we call SKT, SKT, and uh-oh, Ignar goes in with the flash, and he knocks Boku back. Boku can't lantern himself out, so he's just gonna have to shield him, and with the flash, oh, he still gets culled with the last two shots coming out. Yeah, so Tucson is a lot more aware and active on his jungle routes than Potato. I mean, Potato sure is the one that got the dragon, but his one gank that was successful was basically where he kind of waited for it, whereas Tucson is coming in, not wasting any time. He comes in right when he needs to pick up a kill or an assist for himself and his teammates. 1-0-2 for the jungler. Meanwhile, super quiet mid lane that we don't even really look at it. Yeah, we're just going to be like, all right, yep, Cassiopeia just farming up, getting Raptors, nothing new. Going back down to the bottom lane. Tucson just rapping away, commanding his teammates. Really good to see. Amidst all the talk we've had recently about team communication, how it's so crucial. Good to see Tucson talking a lot in the booth. So Winners, it's their first time playing in the booth also, actually. That's something to note, because all the Challengers matches have been conducted online, and Ignar goes in once again. Gangster going to take a lot of damage. He does still have an health pot, so he'll try to stick around for a little bit, because otherwise the CS gap is going to extend quite a bit once again. Potato going to run right into Tucson, but the top lane, both of them already started fighting. Lego gets stunned into the wall, but neither team really wants to commit to that given where they are in lane. So Lego will also be going back. He has his teleport, and given that Dragon is already down, he'll most likely return to lane safely. Ignar starting to roam. Ignar and Tucson basically both doing their own Tucson impressions. Makes you really wonder if we'll see Peekaboo this season. Also known for roaming. They're playing really well in support. But right now we're looking at Boku and Gank Zero. Boku in Korean, Boku really means kind of redemption, or, well, I guess redemption is a much deeper word than that. It also kind of means like reformatting when you talk about computers, or saving your files. Backing up, basically. Backing up would be the best term when you talk about computers, so hopefully Winners doesn't come to a point where Bo3 actually has to do that for his team. Not sure what the limits would be on that for Thresh. Tucson once again in bottom lane. Ward this time here, though, in the lane brush and also in river, so he's not going to be completely unspotted. No lantern for him, but Ignar could try to set something up for his teammate. Tucson actually just going to walk by. Ignar doesn't have flash, so nothing too crazy that will separate Bo3 once again. Now, Winners is also known, I believe, to scrim against foreign teams too. Gank Zero recently had an interview preparing for this promotion tournament, and he talked about how they've had good results in scrims, both against Korean teams and foreign teams. So they seem really eager to want to enter the professional scene, putting in all the efforts they need to. For now, though, Tucson seems to be putting a stop on that for a little bit. Gank Zero also not having his chance yet to shine. Finally, some action being prepared in the mid lane. Maybe not. Most likely not. Frozen just playing safe. No wards right there, but Frozen actually just taking good positioning based on him having a ward on the bottom side. Top lane, still nothing too different. Both of them at similar health levels, as top lane always should be. Now, bottom lane, Gank Zero. Now, he was never known to necessarily, you know, pick up kills or whatnot in lane, just having really solid lane mechanics. This time around, that early aggression from IM, I think, really throwing them off, and also the ganks from Tucson, of course. Lots of pressure on that bot lane, because Longzhu IM really recognizing that the strength of Winners lies in their bottom lane. I mean, what do? You target the strongest spot sometimes. I mean, we saw that with Besiktas. They targeted Faker, and they got first blood on him. It didn't translate into a win for them, but I don't think that's because the gank was meaningless. There are some other factors into that. So Gank Zero, Winners and Gank Zero himself are really going to have to wait until they have a chance to group. I mean, they got that first Dragon Stack, so if they can make the most out of the second one, which is up to 30 seconds, they could really start trying to turn things around from there and try to snowball Dragon Stack leads into team fights and then a tower, which translates into more towers. Longzhu being aware of this, though. Oh, it's so sad to not see IM in front of their names. But good for them for getting a new sponsor. When they were known just as IM, they didn't have a sponsor. So IM was just their team name and it's not a sponsor, because it used to be sponsored by LG in the past, but here they are as long as Tucson gets caught, but Ignar right there for support. Teleport coming in from Apple, which means that we won't, oh, never mind, it's gonna get canceled. A lot of contention over this blue, and oh, Potato gets it with the smite. Ignar having to use his ult, but he gets flayed back. He's going to need some help from his teammates. Tucson only at half health, though, and Ignar going to get pulled back. Once again, his ult is down. Exhaust on Moon. Moon now getting chased by Roar. Nicely Zero trying to zone out the rest of Winners. A Potato all alone. He gets a couple hits on him from Azir, and nice knockout from Tucson. Will make that a 1-1 trade, but here comes a speedy Renekton. And yeah, they're not gonna challenge the fight, because Apple also walking through mid lane. It's going to be a fair fight, and Apple actually has quite a bit of rage available. So he might transform into Mega Gnar. So Winner says, all right, fine, we don't have our jungler, they do. We're just going to give it to them since we got the earlier stack anyway. There's still, you know, the gold gap's starting to happen in favor of Longzhu, though. So Winners, they really wanted more out of that fight. But Frozen with an impressive wall, knocking back 3 people and zoning them completely out of the Dragon Pit area, has, I think, really made the difference for that fight for Longzhu. Mid, meanwhile, has been chipped down quite a bit, but let's see here. Potato does get the blue, and then they successfully try to keep Ignar from rejoining with his team. Lego has been teleporting way earlier on, though. Here we go. Ignar gets pulled back once again, and watch Frozen from the bottom of your screen. He goes in and he flashes over. Oh, and Moon actually took the Lantern out. Potato should have... He was trying to zone out Potato, too, but Moon taking the Lantern out left Potato all alone. But in the end, Frozen still achieved what he wanted to, was basically separating Winners so that they could focus just on one side of the fight. Very good use. I mean, Azir is so good at fights in general. I mean, we saw we saw quite a few moments from anyone who plays Azir at a professional level. You see highlights of them basically isolating one person, picking them off. We saw Faker bringing them out from the inhibitor walls. We saw Easy Hoon in that last team fight, just going through and carrying them in HQ, in their match against the HQ, in that blue side jungle, isolating them after he dives in, and then with the wall, knocking them back. We see those moments a lot in Baron and Dragon fights, because the jungle entrances, the pit entrances, are where Azir's ult is really going to shine. Alright. Aside from that, now we have some time to chill out and see what's going on. Luden's Echo finished first on Frozen before his Merlinomicon. That'll help him really keep up the pressure there. And a dive being prepared in top. And Ignar goes in first so that he can tank the tower with his ultimate. Apple backing out just in time, but that means his Mega Gnar is down, so the damage a little bit lacking. Ignar tanking for as long as he can, and then Tucson waiting to tank himself afterwards, but they're not going to be able to finish the fight. Seemed a little overeager for that. Also, the timing on the Mega Gnar just really not working out, so Apple wasn't able to use his ult to extend their CC on Lego. Of course, Lego also had his ult, so he was going to be pretty tanky. But I think if they fought while Mega Gnar was up, it would have been very different. But they were trying to time the minion wave with that. Eventually, they had to dive anyway. So in hindsight, not the best choice. And Bo3 coming up to help. So Lego did farm that last wave. He's going to miss out part of this one. Actually, all of it with Gnar being there, it looks like. And the tower going to get whittled down quite a bit. But with the cannon minion, though, Lego will come up and he'll pick up some CS, but the tower will go down. Uh-oh, bottom lane, we see Ignar going into Sivir. She does have flash, and the culling gets blocked by all the minions. There's the exhaust, but there's the lantern. Nice clear roar. Absolutely efficient minion wave clear. Now with the tower down, and of course, after that earlier teleport, Apple having a little bit of a lead. It's not too detrimental, especially once he goes back himself. But he's pressuring that as much as he can now. He doesn't have his teleport. His teleport will be up soon. Mid lane getting pressured a lot with that Luden's Echo from Frozen. But Dragon is up in 2 minutes, so both sides paying a lot of attention to that bottom side. Roar and Gang Zero both are going to want to go home before that fight happens. Tucson challenging Potato to a 1v1. Gets out of the barrel. The explosive cash just in time. But he can't burrow yet. He needs to wait a little bit longer. He's going to have to flash. He tried to wait as long as possible, see if his teammates could maybe turn the fight around, but not going to happen. Lego 7-7 already having used his ultimate. So Dominus down for Renekton, and this mid tower is going to go down. Apple zoning out so that Frozen can push up the minion wave. They'll just tap that. With that tier 1 down and 120 left on Dragon, Wangzhou looks to have the advantage in taking positioning for this third Dragon coming up right at 21 minutes. Meanwhile, Roar and Gang Zero both still haven't gone back home. Roar does have a Vampiric Scepter. Gang Zero does not, but he has 2 Doran's Blades. Both of them with IE, so Gang Zero trying to pressure as much as he can so that Roar doesn't pick up all of these. Roar's still slightly ahead here. Is going to dodge out of that Boomerang Blade quite well. They pick up the CS that they need to at the tower. 40 seconds left. Mega Gnar just happened, so Apple, it should be back up just in time, or if he is able to, if he finds his avenue to really build up his meter afterwards, after his exhaust ends. So during that fatigue time, we're going to see Apple go back home. Both top laners still have teleport, so that's not the biggest factor here. Vision is there for both teams. But what matters is that Azir can really shove up this mid lane non-stop before the Dragon fight. And Moon is low on resources. I mean, that blue buff really helping out, but every time Azir shoves up, Moon will get whittled down a little bit just because of the poke that Frozen can put out with Azir. Boku trying to get as much vision as he can, not clearing that site ward. And they're not going to have time to yet because Longzhu already starting that dragon, and it's just going to go to Longzhu. Not too exciting. Winners understands that Cassiopeia had to go home. Gang Zero just came back into the mid lane. You weren't really going to have a chance to contest that, so they're just trying to give Lego77 his time to shove at the top lane. He didn't build attack damage, so it's not the quickest one, but with that cannon minion there, it looks like he will get the tower before Apple shows up. So finally trading that tower, and Winners trying to catch up in towers. 2-1. Lego77, is he going to be able to finish it? Yeah, he will. He's actually just going to start the fight. But yeah, Apple's meter will be built up really quick there, so Lego is going to back off. Roar counteracts the tier 1 and bottom, and the gold gap continues to grow just ever so slightly for Longzhu. Winners really needs to fight at one point to make something happen, change the pace of the game, basically. I mean, you have Renekton, you have Gragas, both champions known to want to fight, want to go in as these bruiser types. Then you have Cassiopeia, who I mean, she can shove fine, but her ultimate is obviously the greatest point about Cassiopeia if you can make it happen. I mean, you have so many combo potentials here for Winners, especially with Sivir's ult. I mean, you can do Cassiopeia ult and then Gragas ult to do your own, you know, style of Emperor's Divide. I guess it'd really be more like Explosive Divide with the explosive cast from Gragas. And then you can have Renekton going in and basically wrecking havoc. But basically, Winners not really giving themselves enough of an opportunity to make this happen. Regardless of even vision, you haven't really seen them make an effort to want to make this happen. They're just kind of playing reactionary League of Legends to Longzhu here. And Longzhu IM, playing the way they want to. I mean, all right, hey, we won our lanes. Our jungler's doing great. We have 2 stacks of dragon over 1, 3 towers to 1. We can just play it slow. We can just play it out to the very end. I mean, you also have Azir, you have Lucian. Like, Longzhu IM's team comp isn't even terrible at team fighting either. I mean, they're pretty great in their own right. But the fact is, they don't need to. They don't need to force fights to win. They can just continue to play the bigger picture here and then win with that one last team fight. And if they lose that one last team fight, they'll be so ahead that at that point, Winners will need 3 of those team fights or 5 of those to really come up with a counter win. Uh-oh, Lego starting the fight against Apple. Oh, but the minion wave comes just in time for Apple to hop away. Can Potato catch up? Dominus is going to end by the time they catch up to that, so Winners just going to have to back off. Basically, I think Winners really needs to stop playing as if the laning phase is simply extended, because it's really not. And if you play this way, where Potato, the only way you can fight is Potato still ganking these lanes that are at tier 2, at some point, Tucson's just going to catch up to him with Ignar, and they're going to win that fight. Or they're going to send Potato home and just dive the tower and take a tier 2. So Winners needs to basically put a lot more focus on one side of the map and have, you know, you could just have Renekton be like, hey, you know what? Oh, wow. Gang Zero barely living, getting away from that culling. Used his heal, neither flash used though from both, neither Roar nor Gang Zero. So Winners basically needs to say, hey, Renekton, just do your thing, just farm up, just let us know when our teleports, try to stun him if he does. And while you have this downtime between dragons, try to force a fight somewhere else. I mean, Longzhu is playing the slow game. You can see that. They're shoving up, leaving, farming the jungle. Shoving up, leaving, farming the jungle. Clear out the vision on one side of the jungle. Try to get a pick, or try to get a wombo combo of yourselves in that jungle. I mean, the biggest fear here is also Frozen's Azir. It's just been quietly growing, and so has the Cassiopeia, but look at the damage that comes in. And also, if Emperor's Divide goes down first, it's going to be a lot greater impact than Cassiopeia could ever have once the fight actually starts. So I understand that Winners is scared of this, but you can't play scared once you're behind with this kind of fight or, you know, fighting team comp. I mean, with Sivir's ult, you can also try to catch them off guard, but at this point, Longzhu has so much vision in the jungle on Winner's side that they don't even have a chance. I mean, by the time they clear all of this, the next dragon's going to be up. And I don't think the dragon fight is what you want to do unless you get get Cassiopeia hidden in a brush before the dragon begins. So since the game's come to this at 27 minutes, nearing 27 minutes rather, winner is probably just going to have to give up this fourth dragon again, but that it just doesn't feel good, right? You're already in this catch-22 where you're like, well, we need to fight at dragon to win, but we need to be winning to fight at this dragon at this time. So winner is basically, they have to take a gamble one way or the other. And nice red onto Gang Zero. They're trying to jump onto Apple, but they don't even whittle him down too much. His Sunfire activates the Baron, though, so he takes a lot of damage, flashes away. Potatoes, Explosive Cask a little bit late, but there's the Lantern, the Flay, and the ultimate from Thresh onto Apple. Apple not going to get away. Bo3 gets the kill, but this is what winners needed. Apple making a crucial mistake, hopping over Baron and actually thinking he can just go home. He started backing for 1 second before Baron attacked him because of his Sunfire. I believe he doesn't have the finished Sunfire yet, though, so I'm going to have to stand corrected on that. But the point is, winners got that kill, but they weren't able to translate it into getting vision and positioning here on Dragon. Gnar's still down for 15 seconds, but he does have teleport. He is going to have to build up his meter, though, in order to transform into Mega Gnar. Potato takes a bunch of damage from Frozen's Azir, and that means winners will 99% have to give out this Dragon. That's sad. I mean, the only chance they would have had to take the Dragon is they went right for it and they had a shot at getting it. But Longzhu actually positioned themselves really well in order to cut them off, and they basically stood in mid lane and said, hey, if you want to go to Dragon, you want to fight us first, even if it's a 4v5, we have this Azir who's just going to push you guys back. So well played by Longzhu there. They still got that fourth Dragon, putting them at 3 stacks, and that really starts, you really start feeling the difference there. I mean, sure, the power spike with that first stack and whatnot makes a big difference, but once you get that movement speed, I mean, why do we talk about things like mobility creep? Because movement speed and just mobility matters so much in a game like League of Legends. And this edge means a lot, especially against a team with Sivir, because it counteracts a lot of her advantages for the team with Sivir. At this point, winner's best chance for winning a fight is a miraculous explosive cask from Potato, and that's a lot of pressure on this guy. He's had a rough time since the beginning because Tucson just being one step ahead of him in all senses of jungling. I mean, sure, you can make something happen similarly as last time with Bo3. Excuse me, my nose is runny. I have a little bit of cold post MSI. But anyway, you could make something happen like Bo3 did last time. But you saw what happened. They got a kill, but you couldn't translate that into... You can transition that into a bigger lead. And just to... Yeah, so only Bami Cinder here for Apple's Gnar. Not the whole Sunfire yet. Gnar getting caught out, he uses his ultimate, and here comes the Culling Moon actually having to dodge away, and he gets knocked up, pushed back, and he can't use, finally uses his ultimate. Roar does get stunned, but he's still alive. Attention on Roar, Azir's Emperor's Divide comes in and knocks him back with massive damage. Azir just cleaning up this fight. Winners 2 down, Moon at a quarter health. Tucson really low, though. I don't think he really wants to dive this. Apple does, though. Full health along with Alistar. Frozen goes in and gets another kill. An extended triple for Frozen. 4 assists on that last one. What a fight by Longzhu IM. Winners, I mean, whoa. Don't, no. Frozen. Almost died there. 3-0-2 for now. 2-0-6 for Tucson's Rek'Sai. Look at this. I mean, nice catch on Ignar. You got a lot of burst on him before his ultimate happened, and even afterwards, you got a lot of damage, but Ignar just goes in and says, no, Moon, you are done. He turns around, gets a stun onto Roar, but Frozen jumps in, and then look at this. Gnar ult pushes them back into Emperor's Divide. Emperor's Divide connects to 3 people, puts down the damage. They get an instant double kill. Tucson picks up the kill on Thresh, and then, of course, they dove Cassiopeia. What a crazy fight from Longzhu. I mean, the biggest thing here was you can't burst down on Alistar once he ults. I mean, sure, you got a lot of damage on him before, and if it was just Lucian there, you might have wanted to make something happen. But even then, Alistar flashing in and disrupting Moon's damage. So aside from delaying the ult, you also just lose out on a lot of damage because you can Twin Fangs non-stop as long as you don't get interrupted. So unfortunately, Ignar was really eager to make that happen. Wow, Gank 0 almost dies to Frozen. I mean, this is what Azir does once he gets 3 to 4 items. Azir's core build is pretty much finished, and his Sand Soldiers will wreck you before you even have a chance to respond. Winners is still playing really reactionary League of Legends, and it's what we see a lot. So I know it's something we've all heard and said ourselves multiple times when we watch. Wow, I mean, look at this. 1 dash and then 2 autos from the Sand Soldiers, and Potato is down to 1/3 health. But it's what we see when we see a lot of amateur teams come to promotions, and then even once they make it into the regular season, is that once you start losing, they're just tied to playing reactionary League of Legends for the rest of the game. And I mean, it sounds sensible, right? It's like, okay, well, we're behind. We have to react. Longzhu is all spotted. So they're just hanging out. But winners, I mean, what are they going to do? The most that happens is that Baron is simply not being taken. So, but my point is, I mean, Monchi talked about this, right? Is that Zion Spartan was like, hey, how does SKT always manage to win from behind? Like, they always come back, and Monchi joked, he was like, well, it's because they're good. This is what good teams do. And sure, you can talk about how, you know, it was funny and whatnot, but that is the fact, is that strong teams come back when they're behind, or at the very least, they understand that they need to, and you'll see them making a run for it. So we see this with teams that, even if they don't end up winning the match, it's that generally teams that you know to have been strong will always try to make a shot for it. They'll go for that team fight. And it's not like, I'm not talking about, all right, 40 minutes in, we're so behind that we basically need to miraculously ace them. I mean, sure, that's great too. But before that happens, it's like, all right, is it worth contesting this dragon? Probably not. We're probably going to lose the team fight anyway. All right, so let's trade it for a tower. Or, hey, they're taking the tower. Let's take a different one. Basically, you have to have these moments where you understand that you can't respond to the tempo that the winning team puts down, and you have to create your own standards and trades. You basically have to say, all right, they want to keep pushing their snowball, so instead of just responding to the snowball rolling down and us trying to hold it back with our hands, we're going to start rolling our snowball, even if it's so tiny, on the other side of the hill. And right now what we're seeing is that Winners is not able to find that window of opportunity. Not to say it's easy. I mean, much easier said than done. But that is what you need to come back. Thankfully, the minion shoving. Oh my goodness, Boku. Oh, he still flashes over. He wants to start that fight because they saw Tucson down bottom. Culling comes in. Apple goes really low, though. He has to flash out of the fight, and Moon putting down a lot of damage onto Ignar. Potato also needs to back out, but Moon and Gank Zero are full health, but Azir, look at that positioning from Frozen. He already used his Emperor's Divide, and Potato gonna go down to the red buff, and Frozen flashes forward. Moon turns around, but what is he gonna do after he stuns him? He's just gonna get bursted down by 2 Sand Soldiers. Frozen's still chasing as Apple comes back with full health and a teleport. Longzhu cleans up the fight once again. Great positioning from Frozen. Understands that once both sides are kind of trying to see if they can get another hit in, you just have to stand behind that wall with the Sand Soldiers. And Longzhu can safely do this Baron with only Renekton up. You see a ping on Lego. It's like, don't do it. Don't do it, Leo. I mean, you're not going to have a chance to anyway. Yeah. So watch this fight. I mean, Boku gets hit a lot, but they're like, hey, but Tucson's down bottom. Let's start the fight. Lego goes in. Gangster from behind. There's the Emperor's Divide, and Frozen is behind this wall the whole time. His Sand Soldiers just wrecking Potato. Roar chases out Lego. Gangster goes a little too far. And watch this. Potato, I'm not sure exactly who he was chasing. He tries to go for the explosive cast onto Roar. doesn't hit. Roar dodges the Boomerang Blade. Also, Frozen flashes forward. And Moon, I mean, that was a good ult, but no follow-up, but also just insta-give by Azir. And meanwhile, in mid, we see Moon getting caught again. Nice QSS from Roar. Or it might have been Mikhail's. It looks like it might have been Mikhail's. And then we're just going to see Longzhu shove through. Frozen doing really well, and Ignar playing really well. Ignar just 1, 2, and 10. I mean, he's initiated practically every important fight for Longzhu here. Part of 11 kills out of 13 for his team. And oh, Potato gets wrecked by Ignar once again. Lots of damage coming in from Roar. Tucson basically gets stopped by the hook, but it doesn't mean too much aside from that. And Longzhu now, with that massive wave at bottom, they are looking to shove that one up. Oh wow, 4 cannon minions with that Baron buff. You're not stopping that wave. Lego knows he has to, though. You have to basically make something happen. He goes in, but Ignar shoves Gangster back, knocks Lego up, and we see the tower go down. Tucson going in deep. Boku gets knocked up. Tucson backing back out as Apple turns into Meganar. Look at that Roar, full health, just chasing through, dashing in, gets the kill onto Cassiopeia. And that should be game in favor of Longzhu here. Wow. Sand Soldier's MVP. And Roar challenging Gang Zero to a fight, even with Spell Shield. Roar doing so much damage. There's the Emperor's Divide, basically, to keep them out, and Boku gets killed right as he tries to enter Fountain. Frozen is still alive, and there's the GG. Longzhu takes the win. Do you want to mention again that Gang Zero did play Sivir pretty well, though, in the finals for Challengers Season 2. Meanwhile, Frozen and Roar played really well in Game 1. That Lucian doing really well. And Ignar, I think. You know, people were like, hey, is he not a one-trick pony with Thresh? That's all he's known for. His solo Q, Thresh and Blitzcrank, these hook-style support champions. But hey, with Alistar, he played super well, made all the initiates that he needed to. Tucson also putting down really good pressure early on in that bottom lane. Now, of course, we had some early aggression coming in from both Winners and Longzhu in that bottom lane, which led to Tucson ganking, and then the snowball really kicked off from that first blood. So we'll see how things might change. Otherwise, same ban so far. With the Gragas ban, looks like Winner is probably looking to take that Rek'Sai and force Tucson onto something a little less aggressive in the jungle. Does Longzhu IM also respond with a Rek'Sai ban themselves? That means Maokai will be open, though. It's a big question, because Rek'Sai was really contested at MSI, but then we also noticed that Maokai seemed to be the symbol for winning. But I like this. Is that, sure, give them Maokai, but if they're so intent on taking a jungler first, if they're prioritizing that so much, you know what, ban it out and just give them the Maokai. That also leaves you the LeBlanc open. So Frozen gets to play his LeBlanc in mid lane, picking it blindly. A lot of talk about Faker picking that LeBlanc blindly. Sure, in the end, what we noticed was, yeah, you shouldn't have picked LeBlanc. It wasn't going to really be able to do much. But at the same time, LeBlanc's not exactly the strongest champion in the meta, and therefore picking it blindly doesn't really change too much. I mean, yeah, you can respond with a Morgana and whatnot, but that was also specifically prepared by EDG, expecting Faker to fall back onto his strongest champion. And we're not seeing that from Winners, which might be a mistake. I mean, sure, Maokai is good against AP, but there's some Morgana. Uh-oh. I mean, how good is Moon's Morgana, really? That's what we're going to come into here. Of course, EDG also played that Evelynn in the jungle, but I'm going to go ahead and say I don't really think it was clear it was Evelynn that was the most impactful in that game. I mean, just passively, a stealth champion makes a huge difference in the game and how it's played by both sides. But aside from that, Gnar, of course, the fallback for most top lane players these days. Roar going to the Sivir himself this time. Which means, yeah, Lucian going to get picked up by Gank Zero. Gank Zero playing Lucian a lot in solo queue also. Not nearly as much as Jinx, but Lucian is also one of those kind. He's kind of the new Ezreal, right? It's like, oh, well, every AD carry plays Lucian. And worst case, you can always pick Lucian, etc. Cassiopeia again for Moon. Oh, okay. Oh, so then it's going to be Morgana support. All right. That's fine. I don't know. Moon's Cassiopeia was not the most impressive. I mean, yeah, you can argue that Cassiopeia is also strong late game, so you could just farm up yourself, but it feels lackluster, especially against an Azir. Yeah, with LeBlanc, though, if he can farm safely, I guess you can argue that you will have a bigger impact in team fights. And Morgana support is going to be less prone to dying to LeBlanc as a support, which is usually your #1 target. So, okay. You still have the Dark Binding against LeBlanc. You still have that threat. That doesn't change. So we'll see how Bo3 does with that Morgana. Meanwhile, Lee Sin being hovered over. I mean, Tucson loves Lee Sin. That's the only jungler he used to know how to play, actually. Of course, he's changed a lot because now we saw him playing Rek'Sai to great success. All right, the Lee Sin gets locked in. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Oh, man. So, we have IM fans, right? I mean, they've had fans for a long time. So their fans were, you know, did their usual, like, 1, 2, 3, IM fighting. And then we had silence. No one, apparently no one's here to watch the winners. I don't know, that's kind of sad. Then some guys said, let's do it. So they cheered for winners. Good for them. Now, Champion Summer does kick off next week, for those wondering. So these teams, I mean, whoever makes it in, they're going to be right into the thick of it. Other teams have been preparing. Of course, SKT just got back from MSI, and they've learned a lot from there. So a lot of good League of Legends to look forward to. 10 teams going into the summer season after these promotion matches. So that's also exciting. Simply means more games from Korea. How awesome is that? More games from OGN. So exciting. Meanwhile, now we have, let's see, that Morgana support we talked about a little bit. Gank Zero taking Lucian this time, though a little bit more of an assertive AD carry, so hopefully that fits him a little better. Also, I think when a lot of people talk about lane mechanics, Lucian comes to mind. You can really bully that lane really well, especially if you have someone like Morgana or Thresh. But Morgana here also to counter that Thresh on the other side. So, looking at winners maybe trying to be a little bit more aggressive here, but of course the spell shield going to help a lot for Roar, so we might actually just see everything fizzle out. Early level 2 though, going for those golems, and long as I am most likely suspecting that. Everyone doing it these days unless their jungler specifically has a different plan. Quickly getting level 2 themselves, a Boomerang Blade hits, there's a hook, and forces the flash out of Bo3. That's really unfortunate for winners. That changes the dynamic that I talked about all around. And Long Zhu IM is basically going to take the lead in that bottom lane. Unless we see Nunu come by, but even there, Lee Sin a lot stronger in his games. Lee Sin also really low on health. No crazy Bengi Nunu coming in this time around. So that's kind of sad. Alright, so he's just going to go for the... Uh-oh, Ignar going for that roam, and Moon does have to blow his flash, but Blue too early, he gets hooked, he gets led into, there's the Ignite, there's the play, the barrier not going to save him as Frozen picks up the kill. And the snowball starts rolling down the hill. I mean, yeah, first, I guess I didn't even talk about that. Ignar getting that Thresh that he loves to play. I mean, everyone plays Thresh these well as supports, right? Thresh is that go-to for supports, just like, I guess, you know, Lucian is for AD carries, and Gnar Maokai is for top laners. But the point is that he was touted as a really good Thresh player. We've had some Thresh legends in the past. We had the Thresh Prince and Edward. We, of course, have Map Life. These days, Budding Fufu making some crazy plays in LCS. And Ignar this time with a nice roam into mid lane forces Moon. All of Moon's summoners, actually. And then gets killed. And the greatest thing is that Ignite was from Ignar. The Ignite was from Ignar. How fun is that? The Ignite was from Ignar, not Frozen. So Frozen's Ignite is still available along with his flash in mid lane. So Frozen can really try to pressure this out. Thankfully for Moon, he's Cassiopeia, so he can try to basically poke out from afar and whittle him down, but he can't go in too crazy for farm because, again, he has no summoner. So if Frozen feels like Moon's forcing a fight, he can literally just jump in and burst him down. So Moon's going to have to play really passive in that mid lane, just farm when he can slowly. Thankfully, LeBlanc not going to be able to push too crazy with early levels until you level up Distortion a little more. Because right now, both mana and the damage not really going to be efficient for LeBlanc. But that means if Frozen plays it right, he can just zone him out, and the lane phase will feel even longer and drawn out, more drawn out for Moon. And we're starting to see that. It's starting the gap is starting to happen a little bit in that mid lane. Everywhere else, though, pretty standard. Oh man, Tusin's here. Moon's like, I'm done. I'm done CSing. Whatever. Moon is, he's just barely staying in range once a minion dies. Oh, but here comes Ignar in that mid lane too. They went for the Mia ping down in bottom. Oh, and there's the chain though onto Moon. He's gonna get a lot of burst down onto him, and Tusin jumps in. The Ignite picks up the kill for Frozen. Frozen still hasn't used his flash. 2 kills for LeBlanc. And an assist for Tusin. A second assist for Ignar with that lantern. Well, yeah, I don't know really what you can do as Moon at this point. Because you want to ask for help, but your jungler's Nunu. And yeah, I mean, he can show up, but even then, I mean, there's the threat that it's LeBlanc. LeBlanc might actually bring Potato down really low, and he has to go home, or it delays his jungle or something like that. There's just so much to lose right now. Because it's not like Potato can jump in as Rek'Sai, or Evelynn, or Lee Sin and try to force Summoners and a lot of health down from Frozen. Frozen coming back with a lot of items. He had that Fiendish Codex earlier, now he's going to have even more mana regen. Meanwhile, bottom, yeah, looked a little rough. I mean, basically meant that winners can't be as aggressive as maybe they wanted to, but they're doing fine on CS. Obviously, Gank0 farming just fine. That's what he's known for in the amateur scene. And Moon, yeah, this is what he needs to do. He can't get help from his jungler, so the most help he can get is by actually just telling him that he's going to take jungle creeps. And Potato, he has to just give it to Cassiopeia. I mean, generally you do anyway. When you're playing with a Cassiopeia or Karthus or something like that. But Frozen's level 6 now. Even with that barrier, you're not going to feel too safe. So Moon just needs to hang out. 25 CS difference in mid lane. A full level and a half, actually. Frozen's now level 7. Yeah, I'm not sure what Cassiopeia can do here. Yeah, just, you know, hope that you can get the stragglers from that minion wave and then keep going for the jungle creeps when you can. Meanwhile, Ignar is roaming all over the map right now. And Boku gets hit by a hook, and he's going to go down. Oh, there's the Exhausto and the heal from Gank0. Boku's going to live. Oh, Ignar flashes over, dives the tower for the last hit, and Gank0 might be in a little trouble as Tusin shows up. Gank0 didn't see that coming, but Tusin's going to need to get out. Teleport coming in from Lego. There's a snowball onto Tusin. He's slowed down. Can Lego catch up? But Frozen's coming down. Winners can't commit too much to this, so they're going to get back out. They see the call from mid. Meanwhile, Moon takes a lot of damage. Story of his life in game 2. Takes a lot of damage. So lots of summoners use them bot, but the point is everyone's summoners were used, and Longzhu picked up a kill there, but here's the flash and the snare from Lego, but Frozen's just gonna flash out. He didn't use that flash since level 1, so he's feeling pretty safe. Ignar finally gonna pay for his crazy roaming. Roar is showing up. There's a Lantern, though, coming in from Tucson. Tucson actually lands a kick, and they disrupt the Absolute Zero. Potato goes down. Ignar lives for so long, but here's Frozen. He picks up the kill onto Gang Zero, and Boku, will he die? They go ahead and pick it up for Frozen. This game is pretty much over, ladies and gentlemen. Frozen is 3-0-1. Yeah, Ignar's like, shoot, I'm such a feeder. First death on the team. But it doesn't matter. 3-0-1 LeBlanc, 20 CS ahead. 4 assists on Tucson. I mean, what a beautiful score for a Lee Sin, right? Because you're always like, oh, Lee Sin, don't take the kills. You're just gonna build like attack items and then fizzle out late game. But not for Tucson. He's still building the War Enchantment, but it doesn't matter. 4 assists, all the kills being distributed nicely. I mean, look at this. Ignar goes so deep to try to bring down Gang Zero. There's a flash from Potato. Okay, so the flash from Potato, not necessary, but eventually that's not why he dies. Really good play from Ignar, denying that. A nice shield from Tucson. It basically keeps Ignar alive for so long that Frozen has time to join up. And Roar was also going to put down a lot of damage with that red buff after killing Potato. Well, there's not much Winners can do. Well, that's sad. I had such high hopes for Winners putting up a fight in game 2. I had high hopes, but let's say I didn't really wish it because I don't want to cast 9 games. I'm sorry, Winners, but I'm totally cool with shorter games. But at the same time, I mean, Winners, like there was so much hype around them in the amateur scene in Korea about Gang Zero and how, you know, can he be the next Deft of Korea? And I'm sorry, buddy, Deft is 17-0 on Jinx, and yeah, your Jinx might have a winning record, but now it's just banned out. Apparently, you can't really play much else, at least from what we're seeing today. You might need some time, though. I mean, we'll see how they play against Anarchy, because if they can crush Anarchy in return, they can still have a shot at making it in the champions. And you know what we always say, I mean, you're going to learn your first season. It really depends on how you return the next. I mean, that's why a lot of people have high hopes for Samsung. Tomorrow, they're playing in Group B of the promotion matches. Of course, with the new lineup, the World Championship brand is now in promotions, facing relegations possibly. But hey, if they can play a lot better, then they learned a lot from the first season, and maybe they'll put up a better fight in summer. So I think what really matters here is, I'm talking in the future, because in 95% of cases that can result from this game, Longzhu IM is going to win, given how things have gone down. Frozen has a Magi's. And it doesn't look like it's going to go away anytime soon. So, Winners, I mean, you really just got to look forward to the game against Anarchy. If you can crush them, you can get into summer season, try to learn as much as you can, and then stay in through promotions, or, you know, make it into like 6th place and keep your seed and try to show a better state of Winners in 2016. I mean, I think you really just got to look at the long-term plan here for Winners, because if you're getting crushed this hard by Longzhu IM, and granted, it looks like Longzhu's looking really a lot better, and Potato gets knocked back. Oh, the chains don't connect, but there's a hook from Ignar. Ignar and Tucson are making plays around the map in both game 1 and 2. And you can talk about how it's promotions, and sure, Winners is not as strong as SKT, and it's an easier, one more, oh wow, the last tick from that W passive is gonna pick it up for Gnar. Apple gets a solo kill in that top lane. But okay, Winners weaker than, you know, the other teams that we've seen in Champions, the regular season. But you can't deny that Longzhu IM basically they look a lot better, right? Because, like, this isn't always how they won in promotions either. I mean, sometimes they did, but I really want to give credit to Ignar and Tucson it looks like they're really in tune with each other. They both roam a lot. And what's interesting though is that for now it's like a flipped Fnatic in my opinion, right? Fnatic you also have Reignover roaming a lot and ganking a lot very aggressively, and then you have Yellowstar who likes to roam too. But Fnatic focuses a lot in their top and mid lane, whereas here I see a little bit more focus in the bottom lane. And then Frozen, of course, when he gets the chance, he's going to hard carry the game too. Apple, you know, he's played carry champions in the past, but yeah, I guess, you know, he's a little bit more aggressive than other top laners we've known, but at the same time, he's playing very stably right now. So very interesting to see IM being just much more assertive and being successful with their assertive plays. I mean, we've had shining moments by all means from IM in the past. That's why they've been around for so long. But the point is, against winners, they're proving that, hey, sure, we might be sent back to promotions yet again, but we're still professionals. We've still been in the scene for a while. I mean, sure, even now, like, this lineup itself has been here for a season, so, you know, with the addition of Ignar. So I think they're really proving their merit and why they deserve to stay in the regular season of Champions. This is very different from the finals of MSI, where LeBlanc really couldn't do much. Oh, the flash wasn't going anywhere, but he's still going to get away. It's worth it when it works. But yeah, it's different from the finals, because in the finals, LeBlanc basically had no targets towards the end of the game. But here, it doesn't matter how tanky or basically it doesn't matter how fed Cassiopeia gets, because she's still squishy and dies to LeBlanc in an instant. It doesn't matter, even if you finish your Sarah's Embrace, you're going to die eventually, and the worst part is it's going to take forever for you to finish that Embrace. Meanwhile, Apple starting that snowball from the top lane, 10-1, 8K difference. Game is over, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a matter of time. Tucson just standing there because look at the damage coming in. Black Shield, what? Doesn't matter. Frozen is here for the kills. Oh, nice dodge on that binding. Not that it was threatening, but just Frozen trying to say that, hey, I got the reaction speed. And there's the second dragon stack. Tier 2 bottom going down in a short while here. Alright, so Moon does have his Archangel, so now it's just a matter of him using his abilities as often as he can to stack that up and get that Sarah's Embrace, but then what? I mean, you have no other items. It took you 15 minutes, 14 minutes to get that first core item, whereas Frozen now has Morillanomicon, his finished level 2 boots, Pisu Large Rod, and a Magias, which has been stacking. Oh, Ignar gets caught. Gank Zero, pretty mad. But Gank Zero also doesn't have too crazy items, and there's a Lantern from Ignar. He's like, doesn't matter. Frozen gonna pick up the kill for me. Ignar's gonna die though. Ignar's probably like, shoot, not sure if worth. And Frozen's like, totally worth it. Gave me two extra stacks rather. And it's fine, right? Like when you have a Magias, if your teammate dies for the kill, it's actually fine because you're getting so much, you're getting instant bonus stats. Oh, and Ignar's mother and sister here to support their family member. It's funny because all right, so Mad Life. Actually, you guys should check out the interview with Mad Life from OGN Plus. But he talks about how his family, his sister and his mother used to come visit him when he first started his professional career and he started playing League of Legends. And it's it's funny because it's pretty similar to Ignar. He's known for his Thresh and his Blitzcrank. He played a really good game on Alistar. Mother and sister are here to support him, making plays. Bottom line, if you didn't send your mothers a late Mother's Day card. They've brought you to where we all are now. And Father's Day cards if you celebrate separate. Oh, nice flash. Oh, roar! Roar! Oh, he lives. Oh, no, he dies. Oh, silly roar. Ignar still looked like a hero, though. No. Tucson looking at maybe diving mid. I mean, I don't know. Do you really need to make Moon feel worse? Apple's like, yes. In fact, I'll just show up and tell him to back off. I'll tell him that he's not even worth the kill. Longzhu putting down a lot of damage onto that tier 2 mid. Well, they'll back off. No need to take crazy risks. I mean, with Cassiopeia, one would make the difference, especially with Nunu there. And Morgana, too. But yeah, check out the interview, My Esports, episode 2 with Madlight. It's always cool to hear more about our favorite players and, you know, their backgrounds and, you know, what they think about the game, etc. But for now, hey, maybe Ignar, if he makes it in with IM, maybe we'll get a My interview, or no, the interview, My Esports time with Ignar. Wouldn't that be cool? Many other players we want to talk to first, so I'm sure. Lots of staple names in Champions right now. All right, so Winner is basically doing what every team does and needs to do when they're losing this poorly, is make a crazy gamble. Oh, Frozen with the wall distortion. But the point is, yeah, I mean, when you're this behind and they have a crazy Fed assassin and every one of their members is ahead of yours, you basically need to go for crazy picks. And it's sad because a lot of times it doesn't work, and as spectators, we see and we're like, oh no, they know where you are. Can't do much, but the point is you still need to do it. You still need to try it. So Winner's at least this time around going for a shot, but it's a little different because this time, compared to game 1, it's already too late. I mean, at 20 minutes, it's already too late. That's when you know the state of the game is pretty bad for you. Wow, Death Cap now finished. And another Blasting Wand for Frozen. He's got 13 stacks on his Magias. Yeah. This Magias Soul Stealer has been stealing a lot of souls. Especially from Moon. Oh, Potato got the smite on the Raptors. But it was activated right away by that ward, so not really going to get much out of that buff. 576 AD or AP from Frozen. Uh-oh. He knows Potato's there. He knows there's no wards, but oh no, the Wolf smite buff just died out. Here comes Gnar. Oh, and he gets the stun onto Potato. There's the chain, and chain stun from Gnar. And Nunu is gone. You can't even blame this on the nerf. You were going to die anyway, because Frozen is so fed. Meanwhile, he just built for Tucson. Still playing it really safe, going for what's going to guarantee you the win. So I like that. Banshees on Apple we saw earlier. That's really good against the team comp that Winners has. I mean, basically, even if Winners gets, I don't know, 5 picks in a row, and then they get 2 Barons, I think Longzhu would still be winning this game. Well, I guess if all 5 of those picks are on Frozen, that might be different, because then he'd probably be forced to sell his Magi Soul Stealer. But aside from that, even then, though, he just has so much gold that the Magi's isn't even the biggest worry right now. So, yeah, I don't know, big questions left unanswered until we see the rest of the teams coming up from challengers. But Winners look really dominant. Lego gonna get kicked back. Tucson's Lee Sin looks really good. Meanwhile, Maokai, the greatest tank in top lane, got slaughtered. Did go for the Ninja Tabby though, which, I mean, I can understand that in lane you kind of wanted that, and Sivir is really strong right now too, but yeah, I don't know. Frozen, I guess in the same vein, Mercury Trades wouldn't have saved you anyway. Wow, the flash, and Frozen gets stunned though under the tower, gets the shutdown, but the rest of Longzhu gonna dive in. Gnar tanking that tower. Potato goes for the absolute zero. Ignar gonna shut that off. Apple did take a lot of damage from the tower though, so Longzhu IM does have to back out. The hook not gonna connect, and Snowball's coming in. Flash coming out from Ignar. Bo3 doesn't get the dark binding. Here's Lego, a flash snowball from Potato, but the follow-up not there. There's the follow-up from Lego, but he's taking a lot of damage. Ignar gets left behind. Lego is gonna die. Roar still at good health, picks up a double kill. He wants to kill on Moon. Here comes Tucson with the shield. Can they follow through? Roar flashes forward, gets the triple. And what did I say? Longzhu still so far ahead. I mean, it's unfortunate that Frozen lost some of his stacks, but the point is that at this state in the game, it wasn't the LeBlanc that was the problem, it's just the entire team of Longzhu. And there's Gangzero. Wow, nice connect from Tucson. Really showing us that he did like to play Lee Sin. I mean, yeah, every jungler should be able to do things like that, but again, this guy's coming from a support, so he played a lot of Lee Sin before. Yeah, Frozen flashes in, gets a little too eager for the kill, and Moon just takes that chance for the stun. There's a dark binding, but Apple gets a nice stun onto Gangzero, and that basically denies like 50% of Winners' damage as a team. We still see Cassiopeia follow through though, and then we saw the Grand Chase as Bo3 dies once again. This time to Apple, another assist for Frozen, so the stacks are coming back, and he gets another kill. Quickly adding back onto his Soul Stealer. Uh-oh, Potato, he almost faked them out. Yeah, there's no hope, he's just gonna stand there. Get manhandled by the Flay and the hook, and Apple gonna take that kill. He's like, no, Frozen, you lost your stacks once. You don't get any more. Void stack now completed for Frozen. 10-1 and 4, a 14 KDA, a 0-0-12 score for Tucson. It's been a long time since we've seen such a beautiful score from a jungler, but it's quite impressive. 14 stacks back from Frozen. Yeah, he's already back. Doesn't matter. All right, well, Trinity Force and Apple. I mean, he's so far ahead too. It doesn't really matter what he builds anymore. Oh, almost connected. Yeah, Ignar's Thresh, I would say, is pretty decent. Just keep it at that. Raw Presence looking to finish his Majias. Uh-oh. Can he get 2 more stacks to add to his collection? There's the culling. So Frozen just going to back off for now. Tucson really wants to steal that red. I think Frozen ended up stealing it. Oh no, Tucson does get it, and they are cornered against the wall. Oh, nice hook by Ignar onto Moon. Tucson goes ahead and picks up that kill. 1 more stack onto Frozen with that assist. Nice hook by Ignar. Man, if IM wins their second match against Anarchy and they make it into champions, we should all be pretty excited for Ignar. There's the Baron buffed minions. Yeah, Lego, I mean, he's going in because he wants to stop it because the game is just so out of control. There's the Mega Gnar, flashes forward. He doesn't really connect, but it doesn't matter because Frozen is just creating a rampage under that inhibitor turret. Gangzero just gonna get deleted. And there's the 20 stacks with a triple kill from Frozen. The game is over, ladies and gentlemen. Longzhu IM is, oh wow, the ace coming in from Frozen. You don't even get KDA points in promotion tournaments, but it doesn't matter. 14-1 and 5, LeBlanc, Frozen. Great plays for Ignar and Tucson. Longzhu IM wins 2-0 against Winners, which means